Hello, my name is Craig Damaris, and welcome to my presentation on the effect of reservation on the Indian education system. Edson and Zinn, 2012, called the globalization a process whereby goods, information, people, money, communication, fashion, and other forms of culture move across national boundaries. In India's case, it would be the best illustrated by the number of Indian students who go abroad looking for a better or supplemental education. Globalization has its pros and cons, depending on who you ask. Thomas Friedman, in his book The World is Flat, says it has lots of virtues, including promoting free trade, international connectivity, having companies better collaborate using finite resources, and increasing a demand for an educated workforce, which can create a positive movement of labor around the world. However, as we read in our textbook, Pankaj Jemawat stated that some of the negatives by pointing out that international connectivity is an illusion since most of the people only converse and interact with other people in their own countries. Some other negative ideas about globalization are that some countries experience a brain drain of some of their smartest individuals to other countries, and that there is often a great wage disparity between developed countries and underdeveloped countries that they take advantage of in terms of paying lower wages to maximize profits. India, since it still is being developed, is one of those countries. India is the second largest country in the world in terms of population and the largest democracy. It is the birthplace of the concept of zero, calculus, trigonometry, and algebra. Perhaps fittingly, it is the second largest export of engineers and scientists. It is one of 3 countries to build a supercomputer. Despite these great accomplishments, the effect of British rule in its caste system, which people have traditionally been categorized in society, have plagued India as a major roadblock in becoming more developed and prosperous country. India is a large and varied country with many different traditions and cultures within its vast area. Despite these issues, there have been some very prominent successes that have come from India, including astronaut Kalpana Chawla and current CEO of Google, Sundar Pichai. Other than the caste system, the other problems facing India are not small either. It has corruption, poor sanitation and healthcare, the world's worst record on women's safety, and an education system that has trouble meeting the demands of its country. Here's an illustration of how India's higher education system is set up. Overall, it is overseen by a section of the Indian government called the University Grants Commission, which was set up 9 years after its independence in 1956. It has many different kinds of higher education institutions, including central universities, state universities, and private universities. Also, they have specialized places of higher education called deemed universities and institutes of national importance. These enjoy special attention from the Indian government and are usually focused on science and engineering. Out of India's traditional caste system, which started in ancient times and was further used under British rule, came the reservation system. According to Laskar, the reservation system in India was meant to give access to education, quote, to the temple of learning for every eligible candidate, unquote, by mandating that a kind of affirmative action through quotas was set for the previously lower classes of the caste system. However, as in many times the case in our own country, as we've seen in the recent admission scandal, not all institutes of education in India follow those mandates. Currently, the official mandate of all lower classes equals 49.5% of the seats in universities, colleges, and institutes of national importance. Reservation is sometimes called positive discrimination, but it also has its share of controversy since merit is no longer necessarily a deciding factor for getting an education. This slide shows the inception of the reservation system by the father of India's constitution, B.R. Ambedkar, as a way to right societal wrongs that existed. As illustrated, it has been changed and contested through the Supreme Court many times since its inception. There has been even violent protests over the reservation policy. The effect of the reservation system may very well depend on one's perspective. Many of the so-called backward classes, BCs, and other backward classes, OBCs, which consists of the rest of the tribes and underrepresented, see it as a way to able to ascend into prosperity by taking advantage of opportunity that was not available previously. Others see it as a way for politicians who can change the designations of the underrepresented in India to qualify for reservation as a way to be able to guarantee votes for elections. Students who no longer can get into schools based on merit see that the only way to now better themselves is to either get a private education or leave the country for higher education. Although people from the lower classes are not known to go backwards in status, many think that the system itself is far from perfect due to the government corruption and the existence of larger problems like healthcare and sanitation. Some of the reforms that have occurred regarding the issues of reservation in India since its inception was to increase the quotas of the backward classes from 27.5% to 49.5%. Many think this is closer to the ideal of equality India had when it came out from under British rule. Another reform has notably been the empowerment of women. India has had a long traditional history of male-dominated society. While it has long to go, women are now finding their voices on the campuses of India due to the guarantee that the reservation systems mandate. Finally, with the access to education and especially higher education being available, India has taken steps to watch for quality assurance of their institutions by instituting a ranking system, and creating a national standard system are in the works as well. My biggest takeaways from learning about India, its history, and the reservation system is that although the system is designed to right the wrongs of oppression, it's still subject to corruption and misuse due to ineffectual politicians in the country. Sound familiar? Also, the reservation system seems to have an unforeseen effect on the education economy. The parents of the students who are not able to attend due to the quotas have spurred a growth in the private education industry, so much so that the 60% of higher education institutions in the country are now private. In a country of over a billion people, that's quite a large injection of capital into the higher education industry in India. Finally, I think despite its problems, the diversity that results in having students from an underrepresented classes is a positive thing in the long run for a still developing country that will need to understand all walks of life in order to break free from the being taken economically advantage of by the globalized economy. Here are my references. I hope you enjoyed my presentation as much as I enjoyed putting it together. Thank you.